hello. Happy Sunday to everyone. Today is March the 19th, and today has been absolutely amazing. It's been extraordinary. It's been busy. It's been a lot of thought and introspection. Welcome in, everyone. Grace and peace, Chief Apostle Dr. Sybil Sloan. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for joining. This is day 19 of the She is Powerful March Challenge. Welcome to everyone. Please let me know where you're tuning in from. Where are you tuning in from? So, we are here on this March Challenge. Today is day 19. Haven't missed a day yet. Y'all clap it up for me in the comments. Woo! I did it. Haven't missed a day yet. I don't want to jinx myself. But I've been very intentional to show up every day for this challenge with the She is Powerful Sisterhood March Challenge, celebrating Women's History Month. So I talked about the theme of Women's History Month some time ago. Montgomery, Alabama in the house. Just came from Montgomery, Alabama with some amazing souls, women, men, ministries. Oh, it was good for my soul. So Women's History Month, the theme of it is celebrating women who tell our stories, right? So today I want to celebrate women authors, and I thought that it just was perfect because it aligned with the theme. But before I do, let me remind those who don't know or who do know, I am Dr. J. LeRae, your heart coach, your strategist, and your encourager. I am committed to your sustained pivot as you journey on purpose with divine alignment. So with that said, thank you to everyone that's been supporting this March challenge thus far. Those that have purchased books, the devotionals, the Power Kingdom Mindset book, which is an anthology, the gear, Rise Holy Spirit Rise, Game on Checkmate, all the things. You've been absolutely amazing, and I'm grateful for each of you who take the time to come through here live or on the replay and listen to the release or whatever it is I'm talking about for that particular day. So I want to bring some facts. I always talk about facts, and today these facts are about female authors. And why are female authors important? If you're an author and you're here, put a book in the chat, put a hand in the chat, put a heart in the chat, something. Why are female authors important? Because there's several of them. I know many of them, and it's grateful for that. So listen to some of these facts. Listen to some of these facts. Their beliefs, when we're talking about female authors, their beliefs, ideas, thoughts, struggles, and lives in general have shaped the contemporary world. We're talking about women here, and why female authors are important. People across the globe draw inspiration from these women whose heroic narratives are being written and read enthusiastically. Let me read that again. That is a wonderful fact. Hey, female authors. Hey, women authors. Thank you for writing. Thank you for being literary geniuses. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Women authors, female authors are important. And the first fact says their ideas, beliefs, thoughts, struggles, and lives in general have shaped the contemporary world. People across the globe draw inspiration from these women whose heroic narratives are being written and read enthusiastically. Another fact, and it's a couple of them. The New York Times book reviews overwhelmingly suggest that women tend to write about domestic issues and affairs of the heart, while men thrive in writing about serious issues such as politics. That's a very good fact. Men write more about politics, women write more about domestic things related to the heart. Think about the authors you know. Think about their writings. Think about the lens that they came from, the perspective that they wrote from, the stories that they shared, or the knowledge that they shared. The next fact is, regardless, Grammarly concluded, women tend to be more descriptive in their writing and spend more time developing a greater variety of characters than men. Perhaps as a result, women are generally regarded to be better writers than men. That's just a fact that I found. Welcome in. Hey, Sister Yolanda Smith Holland, grace and peace to you. A fun fact that I found was around authors and their royalties, the monies that they make, right? So it says Elizabeth Batner's net worth, and she's an author, is approximately 1.3 billion, making her the richest author in the world of all time. And that's a woman. That's her net worth as an author. 1.3 billion. So honey, keep writing out there. We never know when that one piece gonna come and be that one. Bam! That one. So she has 1.3 billion from being an author. I think that's absolutely amazing. 1.3 billion. Now, in honor of Women History Month, especially we're talking about celebrating women who tell their stories, our stories, as the theme for Women's History Month for 2023. I do want to honor some women authors. I know quite a few women authors, but before I do that, I want to honor the youngest female author in the world, which is Bella J. Dark, age 5. Age 5 author, the youngest author. The oldest author at the age of 93 was Lorna Page. She became one of the oldest to debut writers on record. She was 93 years old and became an author for the first time. So guess what? It's never too late. Somebody put that in the chat for me. It is never too late. Tuskegee in the house, Tuskegee, Alabama. It is never too late. If you have not written, you have not started writing women, it's never too late, okay? She was 93 years old. Now, I know a lot of authors, and I'm going to definitely share and highlight some of them. I may forget people. Please charge it to my head and not my heart, because I know a lot of authors I'm in my network that I'm connected to. I know a lot of them, but I do want to lift up a few. And those that I want to lift up is first Grace Marie Brown. Grace was my first book coach when I started writing. My first piece was the Heart to Heart Daily Devotional. Took a lot of classes with Grace. Actually was in one of her anthologies called Still Have Joy. Went through that process, and then I went through, once God gave me everything I needed for the 31-day devotional, through 40 days of a real intense time with him. And I ended up publishing my first piece of work, which was the Heart to Heart Daily Devotional, which is really my testimony in devotional form. So if you got the Heart to Heart Daily Devotional, let me know in the chat. Tell me how you liked it. Did you go through it? Did you go through it day by day? Did you do two at a time? And I have a masterclass that aligns with that daily devotional called the Inside Out Masterclass, which I will launch later this year because I only usually do it 1 or 2 times a year. So Grace Marie Brown, thank you for being an amazing book coach. She has tons of literary work out there as a woman author. She actually authors a lot around autism because she has children with autism and she's an advocate in that space. And so she does a lot of authoring in that space. Stevie Aisha Mills, done some work with Stevie, done some actual auditory literary works instead of just writing. It was auditory books, and then some other anthologies that she worked on. Pamela Manti, I was in her anthology. It was called It Takes Money, Honey. That was one of the first pieces of work that I was actually a part of as an anthology. And then I actually, as a book coach, as a self-publishing coach myself, I was able to help Dr. Sharshenda Covington to launch her piece. And let me tell you, not only did she launch her ABCs of leadership, she took the process and what she learned and she started her own business. And she has helped several people publish their books, self-publish their books. So shout out to Dr. Sharshenda Covington. I also have Reverend Dr. Hope Sims Sutton, who is the She Is Powerful leader, who actually got us doing this challenge. She's an author as well. And several people in that group are authors, such as Desiree Young and Erica Anderson. My SALT group, I talked about them the other night. Our leader there, which was Leslie Green, she's an author. Leslie actually authored 2 books. Her first one was around her craft, her art, where she's gifted in the PR space. So it was called PR 101. I actually used Leslie's book and her online course to teach some of my administrative assistants that work with me to do some of the social and stuff, and they really learned a lot from her work. And then her second one was God Doesn't Make Mistakes, which is really parts from her journal that she took inserts from and told her story inside of that. Really good writing. Reverend Dr. Jaylyn Peabody, wonderful. She's the chaplain of my chapter, and she is an author. Terry Spicer, who is a Sarah, she has an anthology, does a lot of work around writing. Chief Apostle Dr. Sybil Sloan, she has several pieces of literature out there, and one of them that's really relevant right now for women is Put Your Mouth on Him. Put Your Mouth on Him. If you're on here and you're an author, please feel free to put the link to your book in these comments. I would love for women to be able to find your works and get them. So I was at Chief Apostle Dr. Sybil Sloan. Put Your Mouth on Him is her latest piece of work, which is an affirmation book to speak positive to men, the men in your life, the men around you, prayers, all of the things. So definitely look into that. It's a powerful piece and it's needed for women today. Next, we have, and I just met this author, y'all, this weekend. I met her Saturday night. And today at church, she blessed me with her book. It's called Wild Joy. And I am so excited to get into this work, her work this upcoming week. And her name is Joni Garner. And guess what? She says she's already working on her next piece. So go, Joni. Thank you for the book. Looking forward to getting into that work. Next, Dr. Casey Seals. Dr. Casey Seals has a book around education. She's a principal up in St. Louis. If you heard about the school that had a active shooter there some months ago, she's the principal of that school. But she wrote that book some time ago. Amazing educator, amazing leader. Met her at a conference some years ago. Really love Dr. Casey Seals. And then we have Jennifer Yarborough, who I did a lot of work with. I learned a lot about grant making, grant writing, all of the things grants and nonprofits. And so she has a book all in that space as well. Her name is Jennifer Yarborough. And then lastly, the one that I'll highlight, because there's so many more and I can't just keep going because I would just keep listening. But Dr. Candace Boyd Wyatt. I bring her up because she has a children's book around STEM. And my grandgirls absolutely love the book. So look all of these authors up. Authors, if you come along and you listen to the replay, put your link in the comment so people can go find your work. There's many, many others that I'm connected to. Love their work. Please count it to my head and not my heart for not calling your name. But I just wanted to highlight some that came to me as I was doing what I call my lesson plan for tonight. Now, a bit about me. You know, I'm always going to share about me. I'm a whole-grown woman. I'm a whole-grown businesswoman. And I'm a whole-grown woman's author. I'm an author. That's a woman. Hello. I talked about my books a little bit, but I want to give you a little bit more insight to my author journey. Never really desired to be an author. But of course, I started doing anthologies with people, and then I moved into what my first piece of independent work was the Heart to Heart Daily Devotional, which I just shared about my testimony in devotional form. Love that piece of work. Everyone who gets it and actually takes the time to work through it, because it is something that you take time and work through, because it's an introspective journey. Got great reviews from it and actually saw lives transform. Saw people transform truly from the inside out, from the heart level, because I am your heart coach. Hello. So the other piece of work is the Transforming the Soul Journal, which it pairs very well with the Heart to Heart Daily Devotional. And then a big project that I did in the publishing space was the Power of Kingdom Mindset as the visionary author. 27 authors are in that book. Not only did they share some of their testimony and some of their story, they gave you introspection, reflective questions to even see how your mind shifted, how you can get a Power of Kingdom mindset, a kingdom mindset around their things. It was around 8 principles: love, forgiveness, apology, and a whole lot of like 8 different things. And that was volume 1. So be looking soon, because volume 2 and volume 3, God told me, would be a part of this series. I have just had so much going on in my life that I have not been able to focus on going through the process, getting the authors for volume 2 and volume 3 to go through all the process of writing, editing, and getting it out there, launching it, so that we can have some more bestsellers, some for the first time, some for the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time. So if you are thinking about writing, look out for that call for the authors. Look out for that call. It's coming. And then another big part of my author journey that I want to lift up, that I really love and appreciate my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, for having, they lift up authors in the sorority. So I've been in the Delta Author Directory for the past probably 5 years. Absolutely honored to be listed in that. And that goes out to all of the sorority members so that they can see who's authors in their particular region. So that's a little bit of my author journey. I'm more of a cathartic writer, so I write through to heal, and that works for me. Now, one day, who knows, if y'all know me and you know what's going on in my life, this next book may definitely be fiction, because I see a movie, okay? I see a Lifetime movie. I see a Netflix series. Like, I see all of the things that's going to come from what God has me journeying through right now. So I'll be writing more. You know, I'm going to always end with some quotes. And of course, I was intentional to bring out quotes to deal with authoring, with writing. Grace and peace, Latanya. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for tagging. Thank you for sharing. Grace and peace. First quote: the desire to reach the stars is ambitious. The desire to reach hearts is wise and most possible. By the great Maya Angelou. It says the desire to reach stars is ambitious. Think about that. The desire to reach stars is ambitious, but the desire to reach hearts is wise and most possible. So it is most possible for us to reach hearts. Is it always through writing as an author? No, but is that a way? Yes, that is a means. That is an avenue. That is a vehicle to an outcome that we want to see, which is people's lives change, which is people being encouraged, which is people seeing testimonies to see their lives in books, right? That give them encouragement and courage to move on, boldness to talk about their story. So it is wise for us to desire to reach hearts. We do that through our talking. We do that through our writing. We do that through friendships. We do that to just sitting around chatting it up. All of that can be done in that quote. The next quote is, never be afraid to sit a while and think. That's by Lorraine Hansberry. Never be afraid to sit a while and think. If you're on here live or if you come on a replay, let me know. How are you in that space? Are you okay with sitting quietly and thinking? Or are you always one that when you want to sit and think quietly, you're distracted easily? It's very important for us as women to get into those spaces where we are intentional to have those quiet moments to sit. And not only just sit and think, but sit and meditate. Sit and hear from Abba Father. Sit and receive his strategy for our lives, for our divine clarity and guidance and next steps. But this quote says, never be afraid to sit a while and think. I know when I take moments to sit a while and think, you know, those moments where you put on a do not disturb, where you protect that time that you can go deep in thought, because even when you're writing, you have to block out a lot because you have to get into the zone. You have to get into the zone to do your writing. So you got to build that space and protect that space. This quote by Lorraine Hansberry says, never be afraid to sit a while and think. And the last one for tonight, if you find a book you really want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. That's by the great Toni Morrison. And she says again, if you find a book you really want to read and it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. If you're here, I want you to just stop for a minute and think, do you have a story to tell? Put it in the comments. I want to see it. Do you have a story to tell? If you got a story to tell, I want you to write, I have a story to tell. I have a story to tell. Do you have a story to tell? Do you have knowledge to share? Do you have wisdom to share? Do you have a story to tell? Tell me in the comments, I have a story to tell. I have wisdom to share. I have not. All right, Latanya, I see you. Latanya says, I have a story to tell. Latanya, guess what? It's only up to you to tell it. And what I can tell you from my author journey and from learning about writing and literary works, and even our story, our testimonies, because that's what our stories are, they're not for us. Our ordained path is not for us. There are people assigned to our path. There are people assigned to our stories. Grace and peace, Adrian. Thanks for joining. There are people assigned, and we got to get still and think and receive guidance on how to tell it. Whenever God releases us to tell it, how to tell it. Grace and peace, Dr. Shaw. Thanks for coming in. How to tell the story. If you know you got a story to tell, start taking, just start writing out things that come up to you from your past. Get a journal. Write down those thoughts that come, those life-changing events you had. By the time you start collecting that stuff, you got your book. But I'm going to tell you another way to get your first manuscript. If you're not already an author and you got a story to tell, get my book. Get the Heart to Heart Daily Devotional at drjaylaray.com. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when God gave me that book and it was published, he gave me many reasons as to what it would do in its purpose. And one of the purposes of the Heart to Heart Daily Devotional, because it is a workbook journal. It has scripture, it has some insights, it has story, it has downloads that God gave me prophetically. But it also has reflective questions that were generated and constructed from my life, things that I had to live through. So when you go through the daily devotional, day by day, it's 31 days, and you truly answer the questions that are posed in it from your heart with authenticity, by the time you finish day 31, not only would you have experienced a shift from the inside out, you would have also created your own manuscript for your story. If you got a story to tell, put it in the chat. Lasagna already said, I have a story to tell. If you have a story to tell me if you got a story to tell. Everybody should be putting, I got a story to tell, because I've already shared. Our story is not our own. And this is one of my quotes. You know, I'm big on quotes and words and all this, but another one of my quotes is, our story is not our story just to be our story. Hey, hear that as I close. Our story is not our story just to be our story. There are many authors out there that have never picked up a pen to write. There are authors out there that picked it up, wrote, and put it to the side. There's some out there afraid to open up and tell their story. I encourage you on tonight to pray about that thing. Sit, be still, and think and hear and start writing. Somebody along your path is waiting on you to share your story. Thank y'all so much for coming in. This is actually, I think, the longest one out of the challenge. But of course, I'm very passionate about the authorship journey, about the books, about us telling our story. So as I go, I want to tell you one last time that quote that I have that I love. Our story is not our story just to be our story. Happy Women's History Month. God bless you. Have an amazing week. Make it an amazing week. Be a blessing and be blessed. See y'all tomorrow for day 20.